What up, guys? Today I want to talk about my rewatch of the Dragon Ball Super Tournament of Power arc, and I will also be making a conclusion video about Dragon Ball Super as a whole and my rewatch of it and what I thought about the series after seeing it from the first time that I really watched the show, because I only watched it when it first came out and I never watched it again. And it had been years since then, and I did forget quite a bit of stuff, so I had to go back and see it. And Tournament of Power is one of those arcs that I forgot quite a bit because it was a really big arc. It was quite a bit of episodes, and there was a lot of stuff that happened. And, there's a lot of also parts where there wasn't really that much crazy things happening, so I did forget a lot about the little smaller stuff. So this arc, before it even started, it was developing after the whole Goku Black arc, and we got like a few little episodes, like little fun goofy episodes. We had like the baseball episode, which was pretty fun, pretty entertaining, nothing really serious, but it was just a little fun thing. We also had a little bit boring stuff with like the Great Saiyan Man. And there's a movie about him. I didn't really care about that. I kind of skipped that part. Like those episodes for me didn't really do it. I just skipped those. So we had that. We also had an episode where Pan gets sick and they're trying to get the Dragon Balls, and Goku had to go to like the center of the earth and stuff, and it was just a bunch of stuff. I also kind of skipped that one. That was kind of boring, so I didn't really care about those episodes for the Great Saiyan Man movie or that one. But I did like the baseball episode. I thought those ones were pretty funny. They also had I think it was like 2 episodes of Arale back, and then Goku trying to work as a security guard. Because Chi-Chi wanted him to get a job. I thought that story was also kind of fine. It was like, it didn't really do too much for the story, but it was okay. So there was pretty much a few episodes right after the last arc, basically just trying to give us some slice of life episodes, some fun episodes. But most of them, if I'm being honest, didn't really do it for me. I didn't really like them. I just only liked really the baseball episode, and the Raleigh one was okay. But besides that, the rest were lame. So as this was happening, we were getting and trying to develop into the next arc, which was the Tournament of Power. And this is a little controversial because this arc pretty much got created by Goku. Kind of a little bit, because we see the Zenos, they're kind of bored. They want to do something entertaining, so they want to bring Goku there, and Goku's like, okay, let's talk. And actually, Goku wanted to, he wanted the tournament himself. He wanted the tournament. He's like, hey, he mentioned that there's going to be some big tournament with other universes, but, he hasn't said anything, so he wants to go see him. And Beerus like, no, bro, you're not going to see him. But Goku's like, I'm going to go anyway. And this created a lot of controversy because people are like, Goku's an idiot in Dragon Ball Super, and he doesn't care about putting the universes in jeopardy. He's just doing this for a good fight. But I can't really blame him in this one. Yes, Beerus did warn him to not mess with engage with him, because he will wipe out the universes and it will end up to something bad, and it did. And people say, see, he knew it and he didn't care. But for me personally, the way I saw it is Goku just didn't believe that he would do something like that, because Goku just didn't know that. He did see him do that with Zamasu's timeline, or Future Trunks' timeline, but the thing with that was a dire situation, so it made sense. But for him to just meet up with him and talk to him, he wouldn't expect, or to have a tournament, he wouldn't expect something this serious. So I can't really blame Goku. I don't think Goku thought something bad was going to come from this. But after this, when we do have Zenos mentioning that the universes are going to be erased, I do blame that on Goku at that point, because there was an instance where he could have kind of prevented this situation. And also when it got stated, it didn't seem like he cared too much. He seemed kind of like he was kind of enjoying it and kind of antagonizing the other universes, which then I'm like, yeah, he's kind of making himself look bad at that point. But prior to that, I'm not going to blame him for that. So I don't get why people are so hard on him for that. But as they did, they set it up. We have the whole thing, and then we have a few episodes before the tournament starts. First, we have the Zen exhibition match, and then after that, we have them trying to pick out the team members. So before that, we just had slice of life episodes. Most of those episodes, if I'm being honest, were boring. Besides the baseball episodes, those were pretty funny. But outside of that, the rest were pretty boring. So it was cool to see the development to this, though it does suck that the story only got developed because Goku was being an idiot, and now he put a bunch of universes in jeopardy. So that kind of does look bad on his characterization. Even though I don't agree with the whole fact that people are making it sound like, well, Bruce warned him, and it's like, yeah, well, even though he warned him, it's like Goku was going there to be friendly. He didn't expect him to go like that because he's like, we're close. I don't think he's gonna do anything too crazy. He's not gonna wipe out anything, But it happened anyway. So the rest were boring. But going to the Zen exhibition match, I thought that was pretty fun. Seeing Boo, Goku, and Gohan fighting against their competitors. Seeing Goku first Boo go, I'm happy that they gave Boo a win. It was cool to see him fight and see him win because I like him as a character. And in the end of the Boo saga when he joined the group and the Z Fighters, I was like, man, this is going to be really interesting to see, When that first happened, when I watched that years ago, way before Dragon Ball Super came out, I was like, this is going to be cool to see. And sadly, at that point, I was like, well, there's no series coming out, and there hasn't been anything that came out, so there might not be a series. But I always thought to myself that if there did continue and came back, that Boo was going to have a big integral part in the story. Sadly, that never really happened. So to see him do something in this, it made me a little bit excited because I'm like, this is something for years before all this stuff happened. I was like, man, Boo's going to have an important role. And we couldn't see that because there wasn't a show. But then once the show comes back and they have the opportunities, we don't see that at all. He doesn't do shit at all. It's always, he's asleep. So seeing this made me happy, but they did kind of ruin it anyway. So it sucks. They kind of screwed over Boo. People complaining about like Tien got screwed over, this guy got screwed over. It's like, Boo is actually really powerful. He shouldn't be getting screwed over. Like, at least these other characters, they're like, you can argue that they're weak, so it's like, it makes sense. But him, he's powerful. All he has to do is just train. It could make sense that he's on their levels of power, so it's kind of bullshit that they're sidestepping him. They're doing him really dirty, even though it would be so easy to use him. But yeah, they bring him to the tournament. He's whooping ass, showing how tough he is. He's pretty good. And then we have Gohan's fight. Gohan did pretty good, but he still lost. Well, it was a tie, but he kind of lost still, like, let's be honest. It was a little bit disappointing to see in Gohan, but it was cool to see that it was going to develop into him training more and getting better. But they did this before, and they need to stop doing this. Like, you would have thought that he learned this lesson already from the resurrection of F, when, Piccolo got blasted through. He even said to himself that he needs to train to protect the ones that he loves, and he can't just rely on Goku and Vegeta. But then now we have here, and he does it again, so it's like, they keep on repeating this, and we see this also in Dragon Ball Super Heroes. So it's like, they really don't have anything new or different for Gohan. They're just going to retread the same shit. But it is so cool to see him, learn that, hey, I'm skilled, but I have some holes in my game plan, and I need to get better. And then we had Goku dominating. I thought that fight was pretty interesting. Topo coming in and showcasing his power. That was pretty fun. Though, at this point, this is where I got a little annoyed with Goku, because we had Zeno's, they wanted to erase the universes, but Bertamo, he was like this, he was talking with his universe, like Universe 9 and their Kais, and he's like, I don't think it's fair to erase these universes out of existence. He's like, can you please just not do it? And they said, yeah, we're actually considering your thought or your plan, but we'll only do it under this one condition. He's like, what? If you beat Goku, and you win, then the universes won't be erased in this tournament. But if Goku wins, then the universes are going to be erased. But if you allow him to win Goku, just to save these universes, and we notice it, we're just going to wipe out everything, your universe included. So you have to play, do your best. So I can't blame Goku too much for, fighting him all out, because he did beat Bortamo, and that did allow the universes to be erased, which does make Goku look bad. He's like, you're that obsessed with wanting to fight that you were willing to push that far to beat this guy just to have a fun fight, even though you're going to threaten the other universes. But the kind of argument for that is, well, he was in a position where he couldn't do anything, right? But when you think about it, it's like, I guess so, yeah. But when Zeno says you don't have to go all out, he didn't have to go Kaioken times this and that. He didn't have to do all that either. I feel like even though they saw like his power when he's capable of, I don't think they fully understand the full scope of his power. So he could at least tried a little, but he didn't do it at all. And even if like okay, he can't do it, he should at least showed some guilt or some remorse or like felt bad a little. He didn't feel bad at all. He was actually just proud and cocky and happy. He's like, and he's like, did I do great? That was fun. I'm like, dude, you don't even feel a bit bad. So then I'm like, I can't really defend you here. So it's like there's some defense, but then there's also like, okay, that party's just being an asshole, right? And then like Topo comes in and he's trying to shake his hand. Topo's pissed off. He's like, "You're evil. I need to whoop your ass." He's like, "I hate evil." And then Goku's like, "I'm not evil." He's like, "But if you want to consider me that or whatever," I was like, first of all, you are gleeful about this whole situation, which you should at least have some guilt, but you don't. So yeah, you do look evil, even though people say he didn't create this or whatever. But then also, like he's calling you that, and you're like, "Oh, I don't care." What the fuck do you mean? Like he was really trying his best to look bad as possible. But whatever. So we had that, and then we had the start of the tournament, right? We had the other episodes leading up to get the other fighters, and there was some BS with the writing in this. I've talked about quite a bit about the power scaling being kind of trash in the show and how bad it is. Oh, I forgot that they had to fight, or they had a rematch between Goku and Hit, which that was fire. I love that. I also love the fact that Goku got a hit out on himself. I thought that was pretty cool, so I forgot about that. But yeah, that was really good. But besides that, in the baseball episodes, the rest of those were ass. The Zen exhibition match was pretty cool. Then them leading up to fighting the other competitors wasn't too bad, but it was kind of some BS stuff, like with the whole Krillin stuff. Though I don't think Krillin was actually able to handle Super Saiyan Blue Goku. He was clearly just showcasing to see what he would do if he fought against somebody like on his level, to see if Krillin would be scared or not. Luckily, Krillin showed that he had the tenacity, and that was enough to show for Goku. But the rest of the characters, that wasn't really the case. They were just apparently somehow got a ridiculous power boost. So, for example, or not for example, but going on to like what happened, we have him pulling up to, Android 17. As he pulls up to Android 17, he gets into a fight with him, and then Android 17 somehow is strong enough to force Goku to go to Super Saiyan Blue, because he even says himself that I actually wasn't planning on going Super Saiyan Blue, but you pretty much pushed me to it. And even though 17 was like, you're holding back, Goku also acknowledged that he was holding back. So even though Goku's holding back, he forced him into Super Saiyan Blue, meaning that he was above all the other Super Saiyan forms and Super Saiyan God. And then also on top of that, that even though Goku's holding back, he was able to hold back too, meaning that he's at least somewhat on Super Saiyan Blue Goku's level. Not completely, but somewhat, which is bullshit if I'm being honest. Then we had the whole Tien situation, where Tien is getting beaten up by Master Roshi, who's under a spell from this talisman thingy. I thought that was also kind of bullshit. It made no sense. They kind of did Tien dirty in that one. They didn't do Goku dirty because he wasn't able to handle Goku, but still, they did Tien dirty. At this point, we know that Tien is way more powerful than Master Roshi. Master Roshi should not be able to hurt him like that. It's just bullshit. But then we had, Goku fighting against Gohan, and then Gohan is able to push Goku into Super Saiyan Blue. They said they're evenly matched until Goku goes Kaioken, and then he has to use Kaioken to beat him, which means that at this point, Gohan was evenly matched with Super Saiyan Blue. So we have Super 17 who pushed Goku to Super Saiyan Blue, and then both of them were holding back. And then we have Gohan not only pushing Goku to Super Saiyan Blue, but they're evenly matched to Super Saiyan Blue, and he has to go Kaioken just to beat him on top of that. And then we find out that Boo actually went to sleep and he can't wake up, and then they have to replace him with Frieza, which that pissed me off. Like I said earlier, that the biggest problem I had with that was the fact that, I always wanted, when they introduced Boo to being a part of their team, I was like, yeah, he's going to have a big importance if the show ever comes back. And it came back, he had no importance. The only real thing we saw him doing super was pretty much the Zen exhibition match, and then outside of that, he just went to sleep, which they reused that bullshit excuse for the Universe 6 versus 7 tournament arc. That's fucking lazy. I just hate that. And we did get him, he did do some shit in the Mora arc, but that's in the manga only. So it's like, what the fuck? And it took forever there, and he didn't even do too much there either. So it's like, you know what, screw you. I don't know what the fuck you guys are doing with this character. But then they got Frieza back, which I've already talked about how I'm annoyed with the repetitive use of Frieza, and obviously I already knew that he was going to be coming back. So I really didn't like that idea. Though I do like seeing Goku and Frieza's like little like them talking, the little roast sesh. I think that's kind of funny. And then we have Universe 9. They're kind of like plotting to send assassins after them. I thought that was pretty cool. I like that. I like also Frieza showing off his brutality, obliterating them with his energy blast, and then showcasing how powerful he is. But then they did another BS with somehow him in Hell. He was training, and with his training in Hell, which all he can do is concentrate his energy, got strong enough to now be able to kind of somewhat evenly match Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken, most likely Kaioken times 10 or times 20 Goku. So that's also bullshit, but whatever. But then we get into the Tournament of Power, and it starts. And if I'm being honest, most of the Tournament of Power, a lot of the fighters in this tournament were pretty ass. They were pretty fodder. They were boring as shit. They only had a handful of characters that were kind of powerful, but even then they weren't that really powerful. The only ones that were actually really powerful were Jiren, Topo, and then Khalifa and Kale when they fused, and Aniraza, which he was later on in there. But outside of that, the rest of the characters were weak as hell. Most of these other universes had like completely nobodies. They had some weak ass ones. So first they start off with some weak ones. Universe 9 is complete trash. They got rid of them quick, that was at least good. But then the rest of the universes were also pretty ass. It makes sense because most of the Universe 7's team was not that powerful themselves. But then again, they kept it to just the people, the fighters on Earth. They didn't go to any other planet, which I felt like that was kind of disappointing. It's like you could have just showed us new powerful beings in their universe, but they just kept to them. So I was like, okay, whatever. But I guess people would rather see the main cast than just some new characters that they added, even if most of the main cast and crew are kind of weak as shit, and thus meaning if they were to be in the tournament, most of the other universes would need to have weak ass fodder characters too. But yeah, it was just most of them were weak as shit, and I don't like that because usually in a tournament, when you have a tournament arc, you're supposed to have at least a handful of really powerful characters. Obviously, you're going to have some fodder characters, but you're supposed to have a handful of powerful or like at least decent, fighters. But in this one, besides Jiren and Topo, I think the rest were pretty ass. If I'm being honest, the rest were pretty weak. Those were the only really strong ones, and it was mostly just Jiren. So you really betted on just those two, and it's kind of sucks because you have a whole tournament. You have all these competitors. You have like 80 competitors, right? And instead of having like majority of these guys strong, you have like what 2-3 characters that are very powerful, and then the rest are ass. And we're not including Universe 7, so like it will be like around like 70. So you only have like 3 powerful beings in this tournament, and then the rest of the 60 whatever are just weak ass fodder characters. Great. Is it what's the point of making a whole tournament with this many characters, new characters, and most of the characters are shit? I'm not here to see a bunch of weak ass characters. And the worst thing is we had to see each individual person being eliminated. Like, I did not need to see all this shit, okay? It was pointless. A lot of these fights were kind of ass. So it was pretty boring there. It only really got hyped when we saw, Goku versus Jiren, and then him going, Ultra Instinct to fight against Jiren. And then they had another big fight with Goku training, Kale and Kefla, and then they, or Khalifa, and then they fused into Kefla, and then they had the real big fight there, and he went UI against her. And then the other big fights was Topo going into his God of Destruction mode and beating the crap out of them, and then the final one where Jiren versus Goku again, and then the rest of the crew were left to take him out. Or also they had the Aniraza fight that was also pretty big. I forgot about that one. That one was pretty big too, but the rest of the ones were not that big. I know some people mentioned, what about Ribrianne? Wasn't that a big one? But Ribrianne was weak and also a lame ass character. Nobody's sitting here saying, oh my god, let's see Ribrianne in them. They're boring as shit. Also, I forgot to mention they had the stupid whole, tingly back feeling shit. That's still dumb as hell now. And it's so stupid that not only did they unlock Super Saiyan so easily, but Khalifa unlocked Super Saiyan 1 and 2 within a few minutes, and Kale Kale was able to unlock a new Super Saiyan form that was way more powerful than the Super Saiyan 2 also. I just felt like that was bullshit. It was literally an ass pull. It was them not, it was undeserved. It was unearned. Both those characters were also pretty trash. So most of the characters there were fodder. Most of the fights were pretty lame. Most of the abilities were not really that special or cool. There's only a few that were really good, and there was a few big fights. Now, the first Jiren versus Goku fight, I love that fight. The Goku versus Kefla fight, I think that was dumb. In a sense of choreography, it wasn't bad. Animation, it was actually really good. That kind of pissed me off, though. The art style and animation like got really good, and I'll explain why it pissed me off. But it was really good, and it kind of pissed me off. I'm like, really? But I just felt like that fight shouldn't have been necessary. They should have just had a better like threat or enemies that they could have had a big fight instead of just wasting it on, you know, them fusing and having these two annoying ass Saiyans. I personally hate these characters. I still hate them. I fucking had to skip a lot of them talking because I just couldn't bear to hear them speak because they're just obnoxious. Like Khalifa is just constantly obnoxiously cocky, and then Kale's entire story is like, I'm meager, I'm a little pussy, and oh, I'm gay for Khalifa, I'm so gay for her. Like, oh my god, you guys are so fucking lame. It's so like, it's funny because Toriyama doesn't like Vegeta because he's cocky, and he shits on Vegeta, but then we see Khalifa, she's also cocky, but unlike Vegeta, she doesn't have any reason to be cocky, yet she's getting all these looking good and looking powerful. It's like, she doesn't deserve this. Like, how are you going to do Vegeta dirty, but then give her some props? Like, that's some fucking bullshit. But, yeah, I just... Like I said, though, it looked good, but I think story-wise, it was just dumb. Power scaling-wise, it was unbelievably stupid. She was able to, like, speed blitz Super Saiyan God Goku in base, and then do all this other stuff. And some people say, well, you know, Goku's drained of stamina, but then somehow he's gaining stamina by fighting, which was also stupid. It makes no sense. But... you know, her being able to handle it, some people say, well, he was drained of stamina. But then later on, they say when she's in Super Saiyan 2 form, that her power is rivaling and matching literally Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken times 20 Goku's Spirit Bomb. She was rivaling that. And then she went Super Saiyan 2, making her even more powerful. And then even with his... he had to go Ultra Instinct just to beat her. And then even when he went into Ultra Instinct... they literally stated that if he got hit by her attack, it would have not only beat him, but it would have killed him. So it's like, really? You're really trying to overpower her? So the power scaling with her is ass. The female Saiyans, the power scaling was bad. The writing was bad. The characterizations was bad. The character designs were bad. Everything about them I just hate. There's nothing about them that I like. I hate everything that was created with them. I would have preferred having no other Saiyans, just having Kaba being the other one, than having these two dipshits being brought in and then having them fuse. And I will talk about why I hated the fact that the animation and art style was good for this. Because you would expect, right, the big main fight, Jiren versus Goku, to be looking the most beautiful, right? Sadly, it was not. It did get beautiful in the final fight where, you know, Jiren gets his shirt torn and he powers up and then Goku's powering up. That looked good. But if you watch the first fight where Goku and him fight, the art style is a little wonky. Goku's legs look a little bit weird. His arm placement looks a little weird. Jiren's legs look a little weird. So their bodies look weird. The fighting looks a little weird. The choreography is good. It's just the art and animation looks kind of wonky. Then when they get the rematch in the beginning of the first fight, the second fight against each other, it also looks horrible. I'm like, what the fuck is this? And it only turns up once when they both power up. That's when it looks good. And I'm like, okay, it should look good there. But it pisses me off because you're telling me that the entire Caulifla and Kel fight between Goku was looking good. And then their fused, the fight when they fused to Kefla also looked really good. The art style 100% throughout the entire fight was on point. The animation was on point while with the choreography. But then we get into the big fight, where's the main fight, between, you know, Jiren and Goku, which should be the most coolest and most badass one, right? Sadly, the budget looked like shit. It's like, you're wasting this fucking great art style. You're wasting the budget. You're wasting this time. You're wasting all this greatness on this fight when we don't give a fuck about. We hate these characters. Fuck off. Get rid of them. and then you have the main fight that we're supposed to be focusing on, the main big threat, and you make this fights look like dog shit until the ending. What type of fucking logic do you guys have in the creative room? Like, whoever thought of these decisions is legit mentally retarded. You wasted all that money and effort on this shit, but then when the main fight comes in, let's just make it look as sloppy as fucking all hell. It looks like ass. The character models look like shit. And I know some of you guys are saying, well, you're just, just hating and shit. Trust me, rewatch those fights, you're gonna be like, damn, I can't believe they made this fight look better. Only towards the ending when Goku's fighting once when he went to, Master Ultra Instinct, and then he powered up, did it start to look good. But prior to that, it looked like shit. I'm like, why are you doing it for this? What the fuck are you doing? What was the creative process there? What were they thinking? Like, yeah, let's go all out for this fucking fight, for these fucking characters. Fuck these shit characters and this shit fight. But then when it comes to the main fight, the thing that we're marketing, let's make it look like ass until the ending. Smart. Wasted all on them. It's like I'm happy that they did at least give it to us a little bit later. But it's like, a lot of the fight looked weird. I was like, why does the characters look weird? But later on, Vegeta looked cool, especially in his royal form. I like the fight against Toppo. Toppo's fight when he went... First, Toppo, at first, he was like, okay. He was just spamming those finger blasts. But then once when he went to his God Destruction form, looked cool, fought cool. Just great. I love seeing him whoop the shit out of Frieza, too. That was funny as fuck. But, yeah, that was good. I just didn't like the fact that they wasted all on that, and I didn't like the fact that most of the characters that in this arc were pretty weak in fodder, and it was like I stated before even I dropped this series out, I've stated it quite a bit on my channel. One of my biggest gripes with the Tournament of Power is the fact that most of the fights are boring, most of the episodes are boring, most of the characters are boring, and then the fights that are good and the episodes that are good are only few. So there's a few good fights, but mostly trash fights. And outside of that is mostly just dumb writing. So yeah, I've talked about that before. Like I said on my channel, that my big problem with this arc, and I couldn't judge it too much then because I only watched it once. But now rewatching it, my feelings on it is still the same. Most of the fights were boring. Most of the characters were boring. Some of the fights were cool. Some of the threats were good, like Jiren was really impressive and Toppo and stuff like that. But then also a lot of stupidity happened in this arc. There was a lot of dumb, just writing, a lot of stupid power scaling. The female Saiyans, they were power scaled the worst. The power scale made no sense. The rest of the Gohan, Frieza, and 17's power boost was also kind of asinine. It was ridiculous. It didn't make much sense, but it wasn't too much of a problem. At least in this arc, but the female Saiyans, they were the biggest offense in my opinion. It just looked bad, and most of the characters were just weak. And then Goku also kind of looked kind of weak a lot of times. The art style didn't look too good. It sucks because when the show was coming out, people were complaining about the art style, and people were like, just wait, it gets better. And people mentioned the Tournament of Power looks good. Yeah, only certain parts. If you rewatch it, most of it still looks like shit, like the problems that we had before. The only good stuff is the certain parts, and it's let's say the entire tournament was good. So what's your point? You're telling me that throughout the entire series, it looked bad, but at least the final arc looked good? Are you shitting me? That's not a good sign. That's not a good thing. That's bad. The fact that a show has to be all the way to the end for the art to look good, and before that everything else looked bad. Sorry, everything else looked bad is not good. That nobody's gonna ever fucking. I've never heard anybody saying, "Just wait, the final arc at least looks good. The rest of it looked like shit, but the final arc looks good." And it was like, "Yeah, that makes sense. That's nice." No, it's like, what the fuck kind of show is this? Why is the final arc good? But even then, it was like, it had good episodes that looked nice, obviously, but a lot of episodes also looked bad. But yeah, there was not really much in this tournament. I felt like they wasted a lot of these universes. I stated that before also on this channel, that one of my biggest problems with the Tournament of Power is they wasted a lot of these universes. They could have had so much development, because when we first got told by us from Whis and Beerus and Battle of Gods, that there's other universes. I was like, oh, this is cool. This opens up so many possibilities. We can venture into these other realms, other universes, have these other new characters, right? And we can dive into them and go slowly instead of just focusing on Universe 7. But then Super came out, we just focused on Universe 7, and then all at once in one arc, we just shoved a bunch of universes at once. Wasted all that potential because now we saw all the best they had, and most of them had nothing really impressive, except for like one or two. And then we dealt with that anyway, so that's gone. So it's like, why did you waste all that opportunity? Yes, we have like 4 universes left, because 4 didn't get to compete because they had a higher, mortal level. But still, it's like, are you fucking kidding me? You have this golden opportunity to have so much more new stories. Toriyama, you did something smart. And then you fuck it up by focusing completely on Universe 7. And then the final arc, you just waste 8 of these universes and showed us that most of them are fodder, so don't worry about the other universes. And then the manga continues back on with Universe 7 again. Moro, Universe 7. Granola, Universe 7. The Red Ribbon Army, Universe 7, Black Frieza, Universe 7. Like, damn, there can be other threats from other universes, but they already ruined that opportunity, and they did that for this tournament just to give us a bunch of weak ass fodder characters. Like, what the fuck am I getting from this shit, dude? It's so stupid. It's just dumb. Yeah, we got 4 universes. Okay, we got all these other universes that got wasted. Like, all this shows us is Universe 11 is very powerful, and the rest are kind of ass. It's like, they're kind of pathetic and disappointing. I guess that's why we're stuck in Universe 7 so much. It's uncreative. It's just lazy. So what did I feel about this arc as a whole? When it came to the art style, there were some good points, but I think there was more bad points in this arc. Second, about this arc, there was a lot of episodes prior to the arc, so I'm going to just tie them all together too. A lot of the episodes prior to the arc I didn't like, and then even when we get to the main arc, there was a lot of episodes I didn't like. There's only a few episodes that I thought was good, and that was entertaining, but the rest was just watching fodder characters versus other fodder characters, and then seeing each individual fodder character getting eliminated, and then their trash ass universe getting erased. So it's it didn't really have an emotional impact. It didn't have that much stakes. It didn't have stakes with that, but it didn't have that much stakes in the sense of these universes are legit competitors. They got some elite fighters. It was just they're not really that much of a threat. There's only one universe to really worry about, or 1 or 2 universes to worry about, Universe 6 also. And besides that, the rest of the universes, they don't really mean much. They don't have any importance. And like I said, a lot of the fights were boring because when you have really weak characters, there's not really much entertainment we can get from it because we know they're just going to get eliminated. And then there's a lot of stupidity in the writing, a lot of annoying stuff, a lot of annoying characters. Rebrand, the universe, I'm pretty sure it was Universe 2. They were just completely annoying. I fucking hate that. The female Saiyans, complete trash. They wasted Jiren way too quick. Tien didn't do shit. I felt bad for him. He only eliminated 2 people, and he just got looked bad. Even Master Roshi looked better than him, which they dogged him twice for Master Roshi. I don't know why, but yeah, I just felt like it was a disappointment. Personally, for me, the music was good in this arc. The art style was sometimes really good. When it was good, it was really good, but most of the times it was bad. The choreography, I can't complain with that one. At least the choreography was good. The animation was kind of sloppy sometimes. Story, not really that much. I hated the fact that they wasted it, so I really don't like the story. Goku kind of looked like a jackass in this arc, the way he was acting. But yeah, most of it I didn't really like, so I was either bored and wanted to skip most of it, or annoyed. And then there's a few moments of yeah, that's actually nice. That's pretty cool. That's pretty peak. So yeah, after rewatching it, how do I feel about it compared to when I first watched it? Personally, kind of the same. I didn't really have that much of a change. The only change I have is actually the pacing was a little bit better than I thought it was. But then again, it's it was better because it wasn't too slow. But then also, it was a lot of boring characters, so it kind of felt like it was pointless episodes anyway. So yeah, I think this arc is pretty bad. I know a lot of people say they love the Tournament of Power. I'm I don't know what the fuck are you guys are on. I don't know what you're smoking. You guys are allowed to have your opinions. I'm not gonna tell you you're not allowed to have it. But I just think it's ridiculous to think that the Tournament of Power is an actual good arc. Saying that's one of the best in Dragon Ball Super, bullshit. saying it's a good arc in general, it's ass. Somebody said that the Goku Black arc is the worst arc in Dragon Ball Super. I'm like, did you forget the Resurrection of F arc? And I think Tournament of Power is well below, Goku Black arc. Goku Black arc was way more entertaining, had cooler characters, didn't have bad writing and power scaling too, but it wasn't as bad as this, and it had more entertainment than this, and it was less annoying than this one. So yeah, this for me, I would not say it's the worst arc, but it's the second worst arc. So if I was to actually I'm gonna say that for my conclusion video, but I will just say this: it is my second to least favorite. Obviously, first is Resurrection of F, but then this. Right after. I don't know why people praise it so much. It's just a bunch of characters fighting. I guess it's just because I have Master Ultra Instinct, and he had a big fight with Jiren. And people glaze also the fight where Goku took out, Kefla. But for me personally, I felt like she wasn't deserving of fighting against UI Goku or pushing Goku that far. I felt like only Jiren should have been able to do that, or another character that should have been powerful. But her character, it doesn't make sense that these two female Saiyans that fused, because Goku Black fused with Zamasu, and he was able to be handled by Goku and Vegeta alone. But then these two Saiyans, who are way weaker than both of them, fuse, and somehow they're able to give him a bigger threat, a bigger challenge. Yeah, bullshit. I'm just calling bullshit on that. So yeah, power scaling was terrible in this arc. Writing was bad. The decision for it I didn't like. The choreography was on point. The music was on point. The art style sometimes was on point. The art style was mostly, though, off point. And the animation was not really that great. So yeah, in the end of the day, I think this arc was pretty bad. If I was to give it like a grading, I would give it an F. It's definitely an F arc. Some people might say you're being ridiculous. If I was to give it a better D minus, but definitely an F in my opinion, I would give it out of 10. I would give it I'm not gonna give it too low. I'm gonna give it 4 or 4.5 out of 10. So a little bit below average. If it wasn't for the Ultra Instinct stuff and the Jiren stuff, I would have given this completely a 2 or a 3 at most. So yeah. That's it for these rewatching videos. I will be making the conclusion video, but that's just going to be talking about my recapping as a whole of this entire series. But yeah, that's the end of these rewatches. I'm just happy I don't have to rewatch Dragon Ball Super over again. I'm going to just give you a little bit of my feelings about it. I personally didn't think it was as bad as originally, but I still don't like it. I would have preferred that they never done Dragon Ball Super, or done it completely different than what we got. Personally, I like Dragon Ball Daima right now better than it. Even though Dragon Ball Daima doesn't have that much stuff happening, it's a lot less offensive, and it's a lot less, lazily made. At least it has a point on what's the purpose of it. Whereas this is this show was completely directionless. Besides the first, Battle of Gods movie, it didn't really have much direction. But yeah, this arc was horrible. I'm sorry. Any of you guys like it? I just think it's shit. You guys can like it. I just think it's shit. I don't think that Goku Black arc is the worst. This is definitely the worst. Oh, not definitely the worst. It's still Resurrection of F, but this is not much better than Resurrection of F, if I'm being honest. It's a complete letdown. So yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed, and stay tuned for next time.